Why Malaysia beats the rest of Southeast Asia. Maybe not Singapore, but pretty much all other countries. I wanted to fill you in on some mind-blowing facts that make Malaysia the country that it is today, that make Malaysia as desirable as the country is today. I wanted to fill you in on some really important facts, what you get for your money in Malaysia. We're going to have a look at some of the visa options and what you can do if you want to move to Malaysia. Let's start with some basic facts about Malaysia. Basically, Malaysia is a country located in Southeast Asia. There is West Malaysia, where you have Kuala Lumpur, the bustling metropolis of Kuala Lumpur, a very cosmopolitan city that so many foreigners have gotten to love over the past decade. And then you also have East Malaysia. That's where you have Kuching and Kota Kinabalu, right? Sarawak and Sabah. So there are two parts of Malaysia. Most expats traveling to Malaysia never end up going to East Malaysia, so the island of Borneo, but would rather spend time in West Malaysia, where you have Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, and Penang. Malaysia is a multicultural country. You have the Malays, you have the Chinese, you have the Indians, and then you also have the ethnic groups in Malaysia, in both parts of Malaysia. Malaysia is a country that experiences very hot weather throughout the year. There are basically only two seasons, the wet and hot season and the dry and hot season. So the second season is a little bit drier with a little bit less rain than the wet season and the rainy season. Malaysia has become very popular for a number of reasons. First of all, the great tax advantages that you can enjoy if you should decide to settle down in Malaysia. Let's say you want to get on a good visa, the Malaysia My Second Home program or the Malaysia Tech Entrepreneur program, where you can enjoy a great territorial tax system, which means that you only pay income that is generated from within Malaysia. Of course, there are also some exceptions to this rule where you might need to pay taxes on overseas income, but generally speaking, Malaysia executes a territorial tax system which is very conducive to wealth creation, and definitely one of the reasons why so many expats, entrepreneurs, and investors have chosen Malaysia as their home base in 2023 and also before. Malaysia is a very interesting country because you get great business opportunities, great networking opportunities. Many multinational companies decide to host events, conferences, for marketing, crypto, whatever it might be in Malaysia, because so many young people, we're talking millennials who are entrepreneurial minded, who are investors, because they live in Malaysia and it's just a growing country where so many people are settling down who want to enjoy these benefits and who are enjoying these benefits right now. Malaysia has also an insane amount of other benefits, such as very diverse scenery. You have beaches, you have mountains, right? You have rainforests, you have tropical islands, you have the big cosmopolitan metropolis, Kuala Lumpur, you have other pretty decent sized cities where you can enjoy life to the fullest. The most authentic cities in Malaysia that I visited in the past are Kuching, which is located on the island of Borneo, and of course also Ipoh, which is located in West Malaysia. No matter what you want to get out of Malaysia, whether you want to build a business, you are a startup entrepreneur, or whether you're wanting to spend some time in the tropics, you want to get out of the bad weather, you can achieve all of it in Malaysia. Let's say you want to go to Malaysia, you want to live in Malaysia full-time. What options do you have? Well, let's say you are a startup entrepreneur who wants to settle down in Southeast Asia, and you're looking at Malaysia and you wonder, what can I do? What kind of visa can I obtain to remain in the country legally, to pay my taxes legally, and also contribute to Malaysia's economy? Because it's not just about taking out of a country, it's also about giving back to the country you're living in. Basically, there's the Malaysia Tech Entrepreneur Program, a program specifically designed for either startup entrepreneurs, so people with no proven track record of success who want to establish a business in Malaysia, hire people, make money, sell products and services within the given categories. So the Malaysian government says that if you have an innovative business idea. Let's say you're working in the green energy sector, you're working in blockchain, or you have a different innovative business idea that you would like to implement, right, in Malaysia, then you can apply for the Malaysia Tech Entrepreneur Program, for the new entrepreneur program, where you're not required to provide any proof of past business success. So that's one option that you have. And you need to prove 50,000 ringgit in savings in order to qualify for this option. Another option would be to go with the established entrepreneur visa, but this option requires you to have a track record, okay? So you need to have created some business success in the past, and you need to prove at least 2 years of past business performance in order for you to qualify for the 5-year established entrepreneur visa, which is definitely a much longer and more stable way to get into the country. But if you have no proven track record, then you can also go for you have to go for the new entrepreneur visa, which gives you 1 year initially, but it can then be extended. There's another option if you're a tech investor and you want to go to Malaysia, you want to make a heavy investment, then what you can do is you can apply for the Tech Investor Program, which gives you 5 years. Okay, you get a 5-year visa. There are also certain requirements that you need to comply with in order to get this visa, but this would be another option for somebody with, again, a proven track record, and also with somebody who has a substantial amount of money to invest in Malaysia. Let's say you're not a tech entrepreneur, you're not a digital nomad, you're somebody that is, well off financially and you want to settle down in Malaysia, but you might not want to get involved in working a business in Malaysia. You don't want to take any financial risk. You don't want to expose yourself to the world of finance, to the world of business in Malaysia, but you're looking for a long-term way to stay in the country. What you can do in this case is you can apply for the Malaysia My Second Home program, MM2H program, which focuses on high net worth individuals and people with a pretty high income. So the requirements for this program have changed recently. It was during the pandemic that the requirements have changed. And so basically what is required from you today is to have an income of at least 40,000 ringgit a month. And that's the minimum. You can't have any less than that. Can't have any less than 40,000 ringgit. It can't be more, but it can't be less. You're required to have a net worth of at least 1.5 million ringgit. And you're also required to make a deposit into a local bank account in Malaysia of at least 1 million ringgit. So these 3 requirements are mandatory for you to meet in order to obtain this visa. Now, what happens if you don't have the money, right? You don't have an income of 40,000 ringgit or more a month, and you also don't want to operate a business, you don't want to incorporate a company in Malaysia, so the Malaysia Tech Entrepreneur is not going to work for you. Well, you can apply for the Malaysia Rantau Digital Nomad Visa, which requires you to have an income of roughly $24,000 a year, and you can do that, and that would be a way for you to try out the country. And it is not really a long-term way for you to stay in Malaysia, but it's an easier option, right, than the other 2 programs that we discussed. In case you want to travel to Malaysia but don't apply for any visa yet, what you can do is you can go to Malaysia on a 90-day tourist visa. That holds true for Western tourists, so from Western Europe, from many European countries, North American countries, right, Canada, United States, also Australia, New Zealand, a couple East Asian countries as well. So you can go to Malaysia, stay there for 90 days, see if you like it, and maybe get an extension or apply for a different visa depending on your specific circumstances. Or some countries, they get 30 days in Malaysia or 14 days, which isn't a whole lot of time, but at least you can try it out. In case you want to obtain a residence permit, which is not so easy to do in Asia, then you might want to look into different options. And what we're saying here is, of course, different countries, because Malaysia doesn't really offer a real residence permit with a path to citizenship like other countries do. There are some options, but dual citizenship is not permitted in Malaysia. And so if you want to keep your current passport, and if you want to also live in a different country and have the option to become a citizen of that country, then you might want to look into a different option like Mexico, a country that makes it rather easy for you to obtain temporary residency. So in Mexico, we can actually help you get temporary residency in Mexico while you're inside the country, meaning you don't need to leave, you don't need to apply from outside the country. We can help you while you're in Mexico. The entry requirements are rather easy, not complicated at all, and the whole process, can be completed in as little as 1 to 2 months. And again, you get a temporary residence permit, which is valid for a year, and it can be extended for up to 3 years. There's also permanent residency for Mexico. And the good thing about Mexico is that you have a path to citizenship. Okay, after having lived in the country for so many years, and of course there's some other requirements to follow as well. The residence requirements are much softer than they are in other countries, and Mexico is a very lenient country, so that's why we recommend it for sure. And if you happen to be interested in relocating to Mexico, starting a business in this country, who knows what else you might want to do, then please feel free to reach out to us. Another option would be Paraguay, a country located in South America. It borders Brazil, Bolivia, and Argentina. It is a landlocked country, but Paraguay, just like Mexico, has a pretty easy to obtain residence permit, which you can get. You fly into Paraguay, work with us, and we can help you get temporary residency in Paraguay like this. So these countries are making it much easier than Asian countries. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Asian countries. You can have a great quality of life living in Malaysia, living in Thailand. You can have a great quality of life living in these Southeast Asian countries. But if your objective is to obtain real residency with a path to citizenship and more rights than you will be able to enjoy in Asia, then I recommend you to look into countries like Mexico and Paraguay. What country do you want to relocate to? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe now and turn on alerts to never miss any of my future nomadism, dating, and business advice videos. Thank you for watching.